Good morning sa lahat. Tara, basta tayo ng ating libro guys. The Word in Other Words. Bible Diary 2023. Today 17 March 2025. Nandito na tayo sa page ng 20 February, Monday, 7th week in Ordinary Time. Green, PS is 3. Yung kahapon nagkamali ako ng bigkas, yung Leviticus chapter 19, ginawa ko siyang chapter 9. So iba pa rin yung kayo mismo magbasa guys para alam nyo kung nagkakamali ako ng basa. Diba? So kinokore ko lang yung pagbigkas ko kahapon na Leviticus chapter 9, 19 po yan. So Leviticus chapter 19 verse 1 to verse 2 and then verse 17 to verse 18. Diyan ako nagkamali ng pagbigkas. So yun lang naman. Kinokorek lang natin. So today ang babasahin natin is 20 February, Monday, 7th week in Ordinary Time. Green, PS is 3. The Word, first reading. Sir, chapter 1, verse 1 to verse 10. Hindi ko talaga alam kung saan banda to sa inyong Bible book. So, kasi ang nakalagay lang dito is SIR. Yung iba kasi naiintindihan ko kung saan ko hanapin, pero ito kasi hindi ko alam kung anong book ito sa Bible. Sir, chapter 1, verse 1 to verse 10. All wisdom comes from the Lord, and with Him it remains forever. The sand of the seashore, the drops of rain, the days of eternity. Who can number this? Heaven's height, earth's breadth, the depths of the abyss. Who can explore this? Before all things else wisdom was created, and prudent understanding from eternity. To whom has wisdom's root been revealed? Who knows her subtleties? There is but one. Wise and truly awe-inspiring, seated upon his throne, it is the Lord. He created her, has seen her, and taken note of her. He has poured her forth upon all his works, upon every living thing according to his bounty. He has lavished her upon his prince, for of the Lord is glory and splendor, gladness and festive crown. Fear of the Lord warms the heart, giving gladness and joy and length of days. Gospel reading, Mark chapter 9, verse 14 to verse 29. Katulad nito, alam ko to, yung pinaiksi na MK. Mark po yan. Mark chapter 9, verse 14 to verse 29. Pero yung sir talaga, hindi ko alam kung saang book yan. Pasensya na. So, gospel reading tayo. Mark chapter 9. Bagalan ko. Mark chapter 9. Ito talaga totoong 9 na. Kahapon 19, ginawang 9 eh. Okay. Yung Leviticus ba kahapon ba? Natawa talaga ako. Nung pagtingin ko sa video, hala. Kaya ginawa ko, inano ko na lang. Inedit ko na lang doon sa taas. Gospel reading, Mark chapter 9, verse 14 to verse 29. Basa na guys. When Jesus, Peter, James, and John came to the other disciples, they saw a large crowd around them and scribes arguing with him. Immediately on seeing him, the whole crowd was utterly amazed. They ran up to him and greeted him. He asked them, "What are you arguing about with them?" Someone from the crowd answered him, "Teacher, I have brought to you my son possessed by a mute spirit. Wherever it seizes him, it throws him down. He foams at the mouth, grinds his teeth, and becomes rigid. I asked your disciples to drive it out, but they were unable to do so." He said to them in reply, "O faithless generation, how long will I be with you? How long will I endure you? Bring him to me." They brought the boy to him, and when he saw him, the spirit immediately threw the boy into convulsions. As he fell to the ground, he began to roll around and foam at the mouth. Then he questioned his father. "How long has this been happening to him?" He replied, "Since childhood. It has often thrown him into fire and into water to kill him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us." Jesus said to him, Why do you say if you can? Everything is possible to one who has faith. Everything is possible to one who has faith. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo po, guys, pananampalataya lang. So, sabi nga faith can move mountains. Kailangan talaga kung ano man yung sakat nyo, ano mang mga problema nyo, faith lang na magkaroon yan ng magandang solusyon. And, okay na, diba? Ganun lang siya kasimple. Everything is possible to one who has faith. Then the boy's father cried out, I do believe, help my unbelief. Jesus, on seeing a crowd rapidly gathering, rebuked the unclean spirit and said to it, Mute and deaf spirit, I command you, come out of him and never enter him again. Shouting that and throwing the boy into convulsions, it came out. He became like a corpse, which caused many to say, He is dead. But Jesus took him by the hand, raised him, and he stood up. When he entered the house, his disciples asked him in private, Why could we not drive it out? He said to them, This kind can only come out through prayer. So, una, pananampalataya, and then ngayon, pananalangin naman. He said to them, This kind can only come out through prayer. So, ganun gawin natin, guys. Dasal lang tayo everyday na magiging maayos tayo. And huwag mainip at malapit na rin tayong makakapag-relax. Ilang buwan na lang. July na. In other words, gusto ko na talagang makapag-relax sa Pilipinas. Iba pa rin yung sarili nating bansa. In other words, by Father Alan Michan, SBD-Divine Word College, Calapan. When I first got to know this text, our teacher spoke as if the father were at fault for his faith not being strong enough, and we students were all exhorted to show stronger faith in Christ than the father did. How could we open up to Christ's power in our lives and that of others if we were too lazy to try to have complete faith in Him? We were asked, but the Father's faith gave him an inviolable understanding of his relationship with Christ. He dared to make two requests of Jesus, help for his son and help for his own belief. In the Greek New Testament, the Father's actual words are the unbelief rather than by unbelief. The Father seems to look at that. The Father's look at what is lacking in his faith as almost. Sandali lang guys ha. Nag-blink yung aking cellphone. Hindi ko alam kung bakit. Ayan. Kasi habang nagbabasa ako nakikita ko yung siya. Okay, ulitin ko na lang. In other words, by Father Alan Michan, SBD Divine Word College, Calapan. When I first go to know these texts, our teacher spoke as if the father were at fault for his faith not being strong enough, and we students were all exhorted to show stronger faith in Christ than the father did. How could we open up to Christ's power in our lives and that of others if we were too lazy to try to have complete faith in Him? We were asked, but the Father's faith gave him an inviolable understanding of his relationship with Christ. He dared to make the request of Jesus help for his son and help for his own belief. In the Greek New Testament, the Father's actual words are the unbelief rather than by unbelief. The Father seems to look at what is lacking in his faith as almost an alien stumbling block to the growth of faith in his life, a difficulty which he would dearly love to conquer. This unbelief or unfaithfulness or unbelievingness, rather than my unbelief, is not simply limited to the Father and his own life, but it is relevant to all of us. Though we ask the Lord to help us in our own spiritual growth, the New Jerome Biblical Commentary adds to important reminders The second part of what Jesus said to the Father assumes that faith on the Father's part is integral to the healing action to be done by Jesus. As the story proceeds, it is clear that the Father's protestation of faith was sufficient for the healing to occur. As with the Father, our lives as Christians are a continuous struggle to come closer to Christ, not simply for miracles to happen, but for the sake of coming closer to Christ and knowing Him for the joy of the growth in being true to our own humanity and for the love that we will be able to show towards God and others. 21 February, Tuesday. Inaayos ko kasi yung salamin ko, tabingi. Tabingi talaga yung mukha ko. Yung kasi yung left side namamaga talaga. So, inaayos ko yung salamin ko, pati salamin ko tabingi eh. Okay guys, dito na tayo sa 21 February, Tuesday. St. Peter, Damian, 7th week in ordinary time, that green slash white, P is 3. The word, first reading, Sir chapter 2 verse 1 to verse 11. Yung SIR guys, hindi ko alam kung saang book yan banda sa Bible. Basta nakalagay sa kanya, SIR chapter 2 verse 1 to verse 11. My son, when you come to serve the Lord, prepare yourself for trials, be sincere of heart and steadfast, undisturbed. In time of adversity, cling to Him, forsake Him not. Thus will your future be great. Accept whatever befalls you. In crossing misfortune, be patient. For in fire gold is tasted, and worthy men in the crucible of humiliation. Trust God, and He will help you. Make straight your ways, and hope in Him. You who fear the Lord, wait for His mercy. Turn not away lest you fall. You who fear the Lord, trust Him, and your reward will not be lost. You who fear the Lord, hope for good things, for lasting joy and mercy. Study the generations long past and understand. Has anyone hoped in the Lord and been disappointed? Has anyone preserved in fear and been forsaken? Has anyone called Him and been rebuffed? Compassionate and merciful is the Lord. He forgives sins. He saves in time of trouble. Gospel reading, Mark chapter 9, verse 30 to verse 37. Jesus and His disciples left from there and began a journey through Galilee, but Jesus did not wish anyone to know about it. He was teaching His disciples and telling them, "The Son of Man is to be handed over to men, and they will kill Him. And 3 days after His death He will rise." But they did not understand the saying, and they were afraid to question Him. They came to Capernaum, and once inside the house, He began to ask them, "What were you arguing about on the way?" But they remained silent. They had been discussing among themselves on the way who was the greatest. Then He sat down, called the 12, and said to them, "If anyone wishes to be first, he shall be the last of all and the servant of all." Taking a child, He placed in their midst, and putting His arms around it, He said to them, "Whoever receives one child such in this my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives not me, but the one who sent me." In other words, by Father Samuel Claren, SBD Holy Name University, Tagbilaran City. From a post-resurrection perspective, the death of a benevolent and committed leader is hard to accept. Understandably, the disciples of Jesus could hardly understand that a Messiah will be betrayed and will soon die. You and I also, like the disciples, never thought that Jesus would experience such a horrible and painful death. Who would have thought that the people whom he was in constant company and were beneficiaries of his benevolence would betray, malign, and eventually lead him to Mount Calvary? This is the message of today's gospel, that Jesus had to experience suffering and death because of His great love for His people. If not for the pandemic, you and I live a normal life. We would have enjoyed being with our loved ones, members of our immediate and extended family. But have we experienced being betrayed, ridiculed, and rejected by those we love? If so, then we share the experience of Jesus. May this negative experience lead us to hold on to our faith in Jesus who can calm the storms of life and strengthen us in our journey towards His kingdom. Bukas na itong 22 February, Wednesday. Bye everyone. God bless.